Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Welcome back to a breaking news edition of Overexposed. A brand new film stock was announced, and I didn't even know about it. But today, I've rounded up all the details so you and I can get to the bottom of it. Today, we're going to be talking about the new Adox Helios color film. The first and most obvious thing you'll notice when you look at some of the image samples provided by Adox is the unusual coloring of the film. And in just a second, we're going to talk about some of the reasons why we think that may be the case. But first, let's talk just a little bit about who Adox is. Adox was originally a brand name used by the German company Photowork some German words. It was the world's first photographic materials company. But in 1962, the Schleusner family, the family that owned Adox, sold all of the company's holdings to DuPont. Eventually, the Adox name was owned by AGFA. AGFA didn't use the brand name for quite some time, but eventually in 1992, they brought the brand name back. Today, the Adox company is based near Berlin. Adox dived back into film photography back in 2017, just in time to catch the resurgence of film. And originally, Adox produced mainly black and white films. The Adox film that I first encountered was Adox CMS-20, known the world over for being one of the sharpest films ever produced. It's more of a microfilm and it's really high resolution in CHS-100. Adox's reputation for interesting black and white films would start to change in 2022 with the release of their original Adox Color Mission film. And much like the film that we're going to talk about today, that film too had an interesting color palette. The original Adox Color Mission film was a 200 speed film. And Adox is back now with a brand new Color Mission film, this time called Helios, and it is a super slow speed film. And here's what Adox had to say about Helios. Adox Color Mission Helios is a simplified color film with only 4 layers of color and very low sensitivity. And they're very clear in their marketing to point out that this is a film for beginner photographers. And I'm not really sure why. The film has a nominal speed of, count them, 3 ISO. Yep, all 3 ISO, 1, 2, 3, you can count them. And on first blush, that may not sound very useful, but there are lots of applications where a particularly slow color film may actually be useful. For example, in bright sunlight. When you're in really bright sunlight and a reasonably fast lens, you probably could get away with hand holding even an ISO 3 film, but the film is going to need plenty of light or you're going to get lots of camera shake. But one of the interesting benefits of such a slow speed film are you don't need a lot of filtration or you don't need a lot of weird reciprocity calculations in broad daylight to figure out the calculation to make your subjects disappear. Just drop the aperture and you're set. But if you want to have an easier shooting experience with a film so slow, you are going to need lots of light. And be it through a tripod or the sun, you're going to have to figure out where that's coming from. And here's exactly what Adox has to say in their announcement of the film. Color Mission Helios, the second film from Color Mission, is about to be launched. It's a simplified color film with only 4 color layers and very low sensitivity. Color for beginners, so to speak. We are currently casting the last layers on our casting machine in Switzerland, and hopefully we will be able to offer 35mm film and sheet film for the next season. Helios needs a lot of light, but rewards you with super fine grain and wonderfully pastel colors. It is ideal for long exposure and removes anything moving from cityscapes, just like we talked about. The sample photos published here were taken in spring in Istanbul during the day and in sunshine. The images were taken with a Leica M6 2.0 35mm, a spherical, aperture 2.8, 1/60 of a second, and 1/125th of a second. They go on to state that Helios will have a nominal sensitivity without a filter of approximately ISO 3 and a usable sensitivity of 1.5 to 3. And they also go on to say that this is more practical than you might think. During the day and in the sunshine with reasonably fast lens, you can take your photos handheld. So all of that is pretty darn interesting. It looks like another brand new, completely manufactured in-house film from Adox. And now is probably the time that we should talk a little bit more about those colors. A couple of quick glances at the images. There weren't a lot of them. All of the images are very red, very orange red, very warm cast. And it looks like something that probably is so deeply entrenched in the photo that you're not going to be able to remove it in post. So that's something to take into account with this film. Much like Harman's new Phoenix film, this doesn't look like a film for folks who are looking for very accurate color. That doesn't mean the colors aren't interesting or there may not be interesting applications for the film, but if you're somebody who's looking for accurate color, this doesn't look like the film for you. The colors look like they're just too warm, too shifted towards the red end of the spectrum to be used for a lot of applications. But that doesn't mean the film isn't cool and there may not be some applications for it. And a word of praise to Adox here. They've clearly created something new, something unique, something that doesn't exist on the market right now. And in a world where we're starved for options as it relates to color negative film producing, producers, to see ADOX taking additional steps into that market, creating new things. This is all really cool, and it bodes well for the future of film photography. So let me know in the comments what you think about this new Adox Helios film. Is it something you're gonna pick up, or is it something you're gonna pass up? And while we're talking about color film, let me direct you to a video about my favorite color film ever made, Velvia. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.